Poison in the Colony, Jamestown, 1622. Chapter 10. I have a dream of ships. It has the feel of the knowing, but it cannot be, dead as that is within me. Still, I wake shaking as if the ships were real. They are frightful, fantastical, and strange. They come one after another, crowding the wharf at Jamestown. They unload their cargo. People. So many people. But not just ordinary groups of settlers. That is what is so odd. There are ships with only children, ships with all young women dressed in white dresses, and a ship carrying people with dark brown skin, dressed in colorful robes. The people themselves are not frightful, but rather the sheer mass of them. They fill Jamestown to overflowing and spread up the river on both sides. Too many people to feed, too many people to govern, too many people spreading out into Indian lands, angering the Powhatan leaders. I sit up in bed and shake my head to chase away the dream. My night clothes are wet, partly from my own sweat and partly because Alice has wet our bed again. Alice opens her eyes. No more drinks of water at night for you, I tell her. Gray dawn fills the cottage. My parents are two lumps in the bed next to ours. I pull off my wet nightgown and dress for the day in shift, petticoat, frock, and apron. Then I pull Alice's wet nightgown off her and dress her. I use the bellows to fan the fire. The orange glow lights up the wooden table and chairs and the iron cook pot full of porridge. I use the ladle to break the crust that has formed on the porridge overnight and add some wood to the fire to get it going. We are still only a few hundred settlers, I think, trying to wash away the dream. I hear my father yawn and use the chamber pot. He pulls on his clothes and boots. He'll need to get an early start. It's tobacco transplanting time. Though my father and Samuel are both skilled carpenters, ever since tobacco has become important to the colony, they have been assigned to the tobacco field during the planting, growing, and harvesting seasons. The carpenters work in the field, and servants sleep in tents or out in the open for lack of good cottages. What have you got for me for breakfast today? He asks as he sits at the table and runs his hands through his hair. Roast pheasant? I laugh and ladle warm porridge into his bowl. Roast pheasant is tomorrow, I say. Today is porridge. Good. I like porridge too, he says. Mum was the first unmarried woman to ever come to Jamestown, and I can see why she chose my father over all the other men who tried to court her. He's tall, with lively eyes and a quick smile, and most important, he is kind through and through. My father eats quickly and leaves for the fields. As my mother begins to stir, I have Alice help me carry out corn husk mattress outside. We hang it on the laundry line, along with our nightclothes and linens to dry. Your Mum's big girl now, I tell her. When our new little sister comes, Mum will have enough diapers to wash and dry without our bed being wet every other night. I'll be her big sister? Alice asked. That's right, I say. My mother peeks her head out the cottage door. She is tying her apron over her big belly. I heard that, she says. She is looking at me crossly. I take Alice's hand and lead her back inside. Heard what? I asked innocently. I don't understand why she is angry with me. It's a girl, she asked bluntly. I feel the color rise to my cheeks. I look down. I'm sorry, Mum, I say. Sorry that it's a girl. And sorry that I know. Mum frowns. Your father will get over it, and we'll try again, he says. But you worry me, Virginia. She is mixing flour, water, salt, and yeast for our bread. I sit Alice at the table with her morning porridge. I'm trying, Mum, I say. Sometimes it's just there. That's what she said too, my mother says softly. A chill runs down my back. My grandmother? I ask. She nods. Alice pretends to feed porridge to her rag doll. It's a gift and a curse, my mother says. A gift from God because I know your grandmother's heart was pure, and I know yours is too. So where else could it come from? She dumps the bread dough out onto the floured board and begins to knead it. But it is a curse to have the gift and live among men who fear it. She stops her work and looks up at me. Pray, Virginia. I know I told you to kill it in yourself, but that has not worked. You must ask God to take back the gift he has given you. Ask him to take it from you so that your life may be spared. I will, Mom, I say earnestly. I will pray. I am on my way to fetch water, the yoke hanging from my shoulders. He steps into my path, blocking my way. No more rocks, he says. I search Charles's face. There is not a hint of niceness in it, only spite and determination. Could he really be calling a truce? When I was a boy, I threw rocks at you. I didn't know any other way. Now I'm almost a man, he continues. He is not asking for a response from me. I try to move around him, but he easily blocks me and my yoke. Now, all I have to do is watch you until the time is right, he says. He narrows his eyes. I know what you are. I know what your mother is. He straightens himself up. The governor will listen to me when I make a report of witches among us. I feel faint. I stumble forward, but catch myself. You see, Charles says, smiling with satisfaction. Your guilt is all over your face. I somehow gather myself enough to speak. I am guilty of nothing, I say, and neither is my mother. She tried to help your family and your father, rest his soul. Caused us nothing but grief. I shake my head. Governor Yearly will not listen to lies from a boy. I spit out the word boy, and I see I have angered him. He picks up a stone and cocks his arm back, ready to throw it. I turn my yoke sideways and push past him. As I walk away, I do not expect to feel the sting of a rock on the back of my head. Charles is too proud to help me prove my point. Ship ashore! We are in the garden when we hear the shouts coming from the wharf. Alice's eyes brighten. I want to go see, she says. Even the smallest colonists know the excitement of landing ships. I look to Mum for permission to leave our work. You girls go on, she says. I'll finish up here. Alice and I make a game of it, racing each other to see who can get to the wharf first. Of course, I take baby steps and let her win. Others come to greet the ship as well, especially the gentlemen who have servants to do their work for them and have nothing much to do except smoke their pipes, talk to one another, and occasionally go hunting. I hold Alice's hand, and we listen to the conversation of the men around us as the ships sail closer. I hope they've sent the hogs Governor Yearly requested. We'll need more than what we've got to stay well fed. I promised my wife I'd get her coconut if they've any left over from their stop in the islands. I forget the coconuts, forget the hogs. I want a wife. I hope they've sent some unmarried women. Lately, ships have been arriving in 2s and 3s, but today there is only one ship for all these hopes to be pinned upon. She comes gliding in, her sails filled with the warm breeze. As she approaches the wharf, the sailors luff her sails. They toss lines to the men waiting on shore, and the ship is reeled into dock. Her bow is painted in bright patterns of red, white, yellow, and blue. Her flags wave, stretch out flat and proud. British, the flags say with their white, red, and blue, I am a British ship. It is odd, but there are no passengers on deck taking their first look at the shores of their new home. I think maybe the sailors are fed up with them always trying to come on deck, and they're making them stay down below in the 'tween deck until the last moment. I've heard many stories from Samuel about how hard it is to get a breath of fresh air on the journey to the new world. Once the ship is close enough, the sailors lower the ramp. They begin rolling barrows and shoving crates down the ramp and onto the shore. I have often complained, along with everyone else, that a new ship brings new mouths to feed, the mouths of people who know nothing about how hard they will have to work to survive here. But the thought of a ship without passengers is eerily strange. Where are all the people? Alice has lost interest and is running toward mastiffs who are sitting at the feet of their gentleman master. I do not know these dogs. They are new, and they are twice Alice's size, so I run after her. I scoop her up before she can reach them. She squawks her frustration. I want to pet the dogs, she cries. Just then, I hear a gasp and a murmur of voices. Someone says, "Oh, dear. What has the company done now?" I turn to see what everyone else has already seen. There are, indeed, passengers, and they are finally being allowed to leave the ships. They come slowly down the wooden gangplank. Some are holding each other's hands. Some have faces set in scowls. Many are crying. Others simply have wide, fearful eyes. Their smell wafts me on the breeze of unwashed bodies and vomit. Their clothes are no more than rags. They are children. Some are as small as 6 or 7 years old. But there are no mothers or fathers with them. There are at least 100 of them, and not a single one looks as though they have made this trip of their own free will.